Sorry to go all mellow on you this week, but here's a mellow sort of game. REUS, pronounced REUS, the Dutch word for giant, is a god game about the balance of industrialism and nature. Unlike most god games, you are not the god in question. Instead, you're a puppeteer of sorts, taking control of the gods themselves. In this world, there are 4 giants who shape the landscape. The ocean giant, the forest giant, the rock giant, and the swamp giant. Yeah, you know, the 4 basic elements. Water, life, earth, and swamp. Which isn't logically necessary. With these mighty giants, you'll meld this wasteland into a habitable environment, create an ocean, plant a forest, or a swamp, and pretty soon a nomad will appear. He'll settle, and before you know it, the humans happen. The idea is to take care of these humans and help them evolve. Give them food, wealth, technology, by planting fruit, creating animals, and forming minerals. But as a god giveth, a god taketh away. As their society grows, so will their greed. This is where things get interesting. If humans become too greedy, they'll lose their respect. And if they lose their respect, they will demand more. They'll start to attack the giants, and in order to stop them, you'll likely have to destroy them. Boom! To keep their greed from growing, you'll have to apply different attributes to their landmarks. Humans can be distracted by dangerous animals. Creating predators like wolves or rattlesnakes will keep them pretty busy from getting greedy. To do something like this, you'll have to upgrade an animal. There's a vast amount of variations, not just on animals, but on plants and minerals too. You can turn quartz into topaz, topaz into onyx, you can turn blueberries into strawberries, strawberries into foxgloves. It's an absolute tinker fest. These variations provide different resources for the humans, but in order to upgrade these, you'll have to upgrade your giants, and only the humans can do that. There's a ton of little details in this game, but it keeps things simplistic, which is great. The humans rely on the giants, and the giants rely on the humans. It's all about balance, and it happens to be a perfectly balanced game. REUS owes most of its charm to these 4 giants. The game's appeal lies in their designs. Simple yet exotic. The rock giant looks strong, dry, and firm. The swamp giant, probably my favorite. He appears wise, deep, and full of growth. The ocean giant is just incredible. The way he makes oceans is freaking delicious. I like the idea that not only is he beating the ocean into the ground, but the water is flowing from inside him. If you look at his body, you'll see cracks and chasms stained by water leaking through his shell, seaweed hanging from his head, and on his back, boundless oceanic landscapes. Sorry, I just love this kind of stuff. The only giant I don't like is the forest one. If somebody asked me to draw the forest as an entity, I certainly wouldn't picture a smiling monkey man. Once you get past the awe and beauty of these 4 creatures, the game loses quite a bit of momentum. I've always felt the biggest problem with these types of games is that, well, once you've got past the gripping gimmick, you've seen it all, and it leaves you wanting more. You can have multiple settlements of humans at one time, and it gets pretty overwhelming to take care of them all. They'll even go to war with each other. Or, of course, get greedy and attack your giants. Leave him alone! It's freaking time for a swamp bomb! It's the overwhelming aspects that keep the game from getting dull. That is, if you can pour yourself into it and find satisfaction within its limits. Otherwise, it is pretty dull. But do I recommend it? Well, for a well-functioning god game, a nicely presented experience, and absolutely joyful music. Of course I recommend it. It was pretty refreshing, and if you enjoy it, you'll find some really good challenge. Helping villagers complete projects like building lighthouses, furnaces, libraries, fisheries, and even, well, I guess building a circus is important. These projects get really challenging to keep up with, and all the while you'll struggle to keep the villagers from getting greedy. Through the course of completing special achievements, you'll unlock new types of life, animals, plants, and minerals. But that's pretty much it. The sooner you lose interest in new resources, the sooner you lose interest in the game. Not to mention, the humans are pretty generic. They don't feel like they really exist. They walk in circles and talk about the most basic of things. They're also stupid and weird. They hack at boulders with axes, worship things that are clearly not those things, wear ridiculous clothes, and sometimes they walk on walls. The paper-thin inhabitants of the game make it feel a bit empty. It's a little too linear. As with most indie games, it could have been improved with more mysteries, more additions. Say, a cave, with cave people, or maybe different time periods, or a bigger planet, or an isometric landscape, or maybe cities in the sky. It's certainly hard to add depth to a two-dimensional game, especially a two-dimensional disc world, but it can, I tell you, it can be done.
You just have to be clever. And next week I build a circus!
REUS is basement-worthy. You can pick it up for $9.99 on Steam, GOG, or Desura. And hey, be sure to check out my other 2 shows. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to see new Underneath content every week.